crazy.
25th, 2017. 25-year-old Akbar Salabiro went out to harvest palm oil near his village in central Sulawesi, Indonesia.
Okay.
He never came back. That night, some villagers said they heard faint, strange cries from the grove, but in the heavy darkness, no one could find where they came from. 2 days later, the search ended in horror. On the ground lay a massive reticulated python, over 7 meters long, around 23 feet. Its midsection bulged unnaturally. Through the stretched skin, you could see the outline of a human body, and at one end, the tips of Akbar's boots. The villagers killed the snake, and in front of a silent crowd, cut it open. Inside, Akbar was still fully clothed. His
God dang. Bro, how can a snake just eat in whole, like a whole entire human? That's crazy.
Body crushed but intact. This became the first fully documented case in history of a reticulated python swallowing an adult human, complete with photos and video that went viral worldwide. His wife wasn't even home that night. She found out what happened from those same viral photos. Experts believe it wasn't random. As palm oil plantations replace rainforest, giant pythons lose their prey and territory, forcing them into closer contact with people. Reticulated pythons are the world's longest snakes.
Golly, it ate a whole entire human. That's wild.
Prey before coiling around it to stop blood flow, then swallowing it whole. His last moments likely began with a sudden strike to his legs, followed by the crushing coils tightening around his chest, until he...
Bro, just imagine that a whole entire snake just gobble you up. Like, just a snake that's like going inside your... Bro, that's crazy.
Could no longer breathe. Then came the slow, deliberate swallowing that pythons are built for.
Golly.
It was the morning of April 28th, 2016, when 23-year-old Alex Bessler and his friend Sonia set out for a short hike on Arizona's Merkle Trail. The desert air was still, the sun warm, until a dark shape appeared in the sky. At first it seemed like a cloud, but within seconds it was buzzing, swirling, and charging straight at them. They were Africanized killer bees, and they weren't looking to scare anyone off. Sonia sprinted away, shouting for Alex to run, but the swarm was faster. Hundreds of bees clung to his face, neck, and...
God dang, bro. Like, the bees go into your head, your mouth, your eyes, your body. Bro, just imagine, bro. Bro, like, those have to be worse than freaking mosquito bites. Gotta be, bro.
Arms, while thousands more hovered and struck at every patch of skin they could find.
That's actually wild.
The pain was instant and brutal. Each
gotta be,
like
bro.
a hot needle pressing into his skin. Then it multiplied again and again until it felt like the air itself had turned into stingers. His body began to swell, burn, and itch all at once. Breathing grew harder, his chest tight, his throat starting to close. Park rangers and hikers rushed to help but couldn't get close. The bees attacked anyone who came near. Even with protective gear and leaf blowers to push them back, the swarm barely thinned. By the time...
Killer bees, bro. Hold up. Killer bees or Africanized honeybees are highly known for their highly defensive behavior and rapid spread across the Americas. God dang. So these are killer bees. They look just like any other bee, dog. Like, they don't look no different. Okay, maybe because like the eyes and everything are like low-key big. That's crazy though, gang. Golly. A killer bee just like,
reached Alex. He had been stung over 1,000 times. He was rushed to the hospital in critical condition.
He's dead now, bro.
Shutting down from the sheer volume of venom. The official cause of death: multiple organ failure and respiratory arrest from massive envenomation and anaphylactic shock. In minutes, the venom had overwhelmed his system, collapsing his organs and stopping his breathing. For Arizona, the tragedy was a wake-up call. Warning signs soon appeared at trailheads, advising hikers how to spot and avoid bee activity. But for Sonia, who escaped only to watch her friend consumed by that swarm,
that's sad. Like, bro, like, imagine that the bees is coming all over you, bro, and like you just get like sting and sting and sting, like your girlfriend's just watching you, bro. That's sad. That's crazy, bro. Golly.
Spring 2024, a quiet rural road in Russia. A group of friends pull over by a small river. Near the bank sits a massive, sturdy-built beaver. Someone laughs, "Let's get a selfie." One man edges closer, then closer
Beavers
still, until he
don't play,
actually
gang.
tries to lift the animal. The beaver explodes in fury. It
Ooh.
twists, clamping its chisel-like teeth into his thigh. The sound is a raw, sickening crack, like a tree branch snapping, except it's flesh and maybe bone. Imagine a steel hammer with a razor edge slamming into your leg, cutting straight to the bone in a single strike. Blood erupts instantly, hot and fast. The beaver has severed the femoral artery, a direct pipeline from the heart that can drain a person's life in under 2 minutes. The man stumbles back, eyes wide in shock, the ground beneath him turning dark red. His friends scream, hauling him toward the car, but the blood gushes like an open tap.
Bro,
He grows
look at
pale,
that.
weak, and within moments loses consciousness. By the time they reach the nearest village, it's over. Fatal beaver attacks are almost unheard of, but these animals will defend themselves, especially in spring when they guard their territory and young.
Dog.
On September 21st, 2014, 22-year-old Darsh
These are
Patel
old
was
videos.
hiking
I
with
mean,
four
old things
friends
happen.
in the Apshawa Preserve, West Milford, New Jersey, a place
That's
locals
crazy,
thought
though.
they knew well. Black bears were common here, but fatal encounters,
Bro,
never.
never in my life, bro. I would never interact with a bear, dog, because bears don't play. Especially those grizzly bears, bro. They big, fat, and brown. Like, they see you, then they're going to eat you up, bro.
Along the trail, the group spotted
Get
a
away
large
with those
black
grizzly
bear
bears, gang.
about 100 feet away. Instead of leaving immediately, curiosity took over. They began snapping photos.
Yeah,
Darsh
but-
snapped
yeah, y'all
several
cooked.
selfies as the bear edged closer, each
Y'all
frame
cooked.
showing it filling more and more of the shot. They eventually turned to walk away, but the bear kept following. When it closed to within 5 meters, about 16 feet, fear turned to panic. Someone shouted to run. That split-second choice would prove fatal. Running can flip a predator's instinct into overdrive. To a bear, it's not fear it sees, it's prey fleeing. Darsh was soon separated from his friends. Imagine sprinting through thick woods, breath fogging in the cool air, every rustle behind you sending a spike of terror through your chest. Then, footfalls heavier than your own. The ground starts to tremble. Black bears can hit 30 miles an hour. The
Dang.
impact is like a battering ram, the claws like hooked knives, the jaws able to crush bone. 2 hours later, search teams found Darsh's body, torn and lifeless, with the bear still circling and guarding it. Police had to shoot the animal on the spot. The attack shocked New Jersey. It was the first fatal bear encounter ever recorded in the state, despite its dense bear population. Remember, even one wrong instinct can make the difference between going home and not coming back.
Literally, bro. That's crazy, dog.
Cynthia Dikema, 61,
Like,
and
chat,
her
like,
husband,
bro.
Keith, paddled a 14-foot
Like,
canoe through
You guys are taking, bro. These animals do not play, bro. Stop playing, like, bro. Stop playing like these are like some animals that are like in a fairy tale, bro,
Tiger
or
Creek
Disney.
near Lake Kissimmee on a
Like,
warm May
we
morning.
all live it in real life,
2025.
bro.
The water was barely 2.5 feet deep, so still it mirrored the sky like a perfect sheet of glass. Then, an eruption. They had unknowingly glided over an 11-foot, 4-inch
Yeah,
alligator. In
y'all
a single
cook.
explosive surge, the reptile
cook.
heaved upward, slamming into the canoe and flipping it like a toy.
Y'all
Both were
cook.
hurled into the water. Cynthia came down directly
Run.
on top of the gator.
Why you guys sitting
In
there?
that
Run.
instant, before she could scream, it clamped its jaws around her torso.
Dang.
The pressure was unimaginable, as if an iron vice was crushing her ribs inward, while
Oh my
serrated
God.
teeth tore into flesh. She was yanked under so fast that her last view was the fractured sunlight above, shattering into bubbles. Keith lunged toward the swirl, his hands grasping only empty water as the ripples closed. The massive shape lingered
dead,
below,
bro.
circling, while Keith fought his way to shore, yelling for help. By afternoon, rescue divers recovered Cynthia's body, still close to where the gator prowled.
She's dead, dog.
Wildlife officers trapped 2 large alligators from the area, but all evidence pointed to that 11-foot brute. Experts believe it wasn't hunger, but territorial fury in spring mating season that triggered the attack.
Bro, how many
It
are
was
there?
January 26th, 2001, Pacific Heights, San Francisco. Diane Whipple, 33, a celebrated lacrosse coach, stood in the narrow hallway outside her apartment, juggling grocery bags, keys clinking in her
Grocery
hand. From the
bags.
opposite end of the hall came Marjorie Knoller, straining to hold back 2 massive Presa Canarios. Bane, a 130-pound
Bro,
brute of muscle,
God
and Hera,
dang.
slightly
Y'all chat, see, look, like here's another thing too. Y'all gonna have to learn to stop playing with pitbulls, man. Pitbulls don't play. Y'all, German Shepherds, Rottweilers, American pitbulls do not play, y'all. I'm trying to tell you guys,
smaller,
bro.
but just as intimidating. The hallway was barely wide enough for two people to pass. Then, an explosion of power. Bane lunged, his jaws locked on Diane's neck. Hera tore at her clothing, teeth finding flesh. The sound was a sickening mix. Deep growls, tearing fabric, and Diane's screams echoing off the plaster walls. She fought back, but every movement only triggered another bite. Presa Canarios have jaws like steel traps, designed to hold, crush, and not let go.
God
in minutes,
dang.
her body was covered in over 75 wounds, sparing only her scalp and the soles of her feet. She bled heavily, the metallic scent filling the air. By the time rescuers reached her, she was barely conscious. In the ER, doctors fought to replace the blood pouring from her shredded arteries, but the trauma was too great. She was pronounced dead. The horror didn't end in that hallway. Bane and Hera belonged to Noller and her husband, Robert Noel, but the dogs had been raised for intimidation, linked to a violent Aryan Brotherhood member serving time. Neighbors had called them dogs of death. Diane herself had told friends she felt unsafe near them. Bane was euthanized immediately after the attack.
Dang, they did.
A year later, Noller was convicted of second-degree murder on the rare legal principle of implied malice.
Wow.
Noel was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. The case rewrote California's dangerous dog laws. So there you have it. 6 encounters.
That's crazy, chat. Hey, y'all. Let me know what's y'all like most craziest one for like D6, chat. Golly.